Women of Reddit, what's the most crazy girlfriend thing you've ever done? I was hormonal and PMSing, and so my BF brought me takeout from my favorite sub shop. I cried when I opened it, because it was my favorite sub, but I didn't want my favorite, I wanted my second favorite sub. Searched photos liked by boyfriend's name on Facebook. When I was 15 my boyfriend broke up with me, so he could date another girl. I asked for a game back that I had loaned to him, and when I went to pick it up I dropped off a bunch of things that had been from our time together, including a little paper doily from Homecoming that had our names on it. I burned off his half of it. In my defense, I was 15 and that seemed perfectly normal at the time. My ex didn't come home one too many times, so I just snapped and ripped up all the photo of us, and sprinkled the bits all over the bed, and tore apart a little I love you teddy he gave me, and left it on the bed to come home to. I felt like a crazy the next day, and I've never actually admitted that to anyone. Edit. Thank you for my first gold. Didn't think I'd get gold from being a crazy. Oh man. So I can't say this is precisely a crazy girlfriend thing, because we were just best friends and lovers for years, 2 to 3 at the time this story occurs, but I wanted to be. I started by internet stalking him, his MySpace, Facebook, his pictures, his friends, his notes, live journal, DeviantArt, he had a blog. I was convinced I was his dream girl, and was determined to prove it. I was still casually dating though, and had an OkCupid profile. He showed up on my list at a 95% match, my highest ever. I paid for Alias to be an invisible visitor, and scoured his profile and its hundreds of answered questions. Read every book, and watched every movie he mentioned. I actually ended up sincerely liking all of them, so silver lining. Casually started dropping them in conversation, among others so as not to tip him off. I befriended his partners and exes for inside information, another accidental sincerity as I'm still in contact with many of them. A decade later, I exclusively smoked his favorite brand of cigarettes and casually quoted his short stories, which I was fan level familiar with. We got matching tattoos for my birthday one year, and he has no idea I knew the tattoo he wanted a year before, and started discussing my interests in a totally unrelated tattoo through that year. The matching tattoos were his idea by the time my birthday rolled around. Short version, it worked, but we aren't together. I do my damnedest to never be that type of person, but the urge is still there. My fiance and I had to work through it and ensure I hadn't done that to him. This was 10 years ago, and I still get the creeps at the thought of a guy doing that to me. Went through his phone and caught him cheating as a result. Not as crazy as some of the others on here, but it felt crazy to me, because I'm 100% not the type of person that does this. The funny thing is, he started cheating when I moved away for college. I suspected nothing, but his dad was a king bro, and pulled me aside one weekend, when I came to visit, and told me he suspected he was cheating. Looked in the phone for proof, and it turns out I had gone from girlfriend to the other woman to 3 different girls in the span of about 3 weeks. It was a 6-year anniversary when I found out and dumped him. Paid money to access my boyfriend's court records because my mom had somehow convinced me he was lying about a certain court case that involved his ex. It turns out he was actually telling the truth. I was only skeptical because he has been known to embellish stories to make them more entertaining. This was while we were broken up for about 2 weeks, and I feel guilty about it all the time for even doubting him. Edit. We were together for 2 years when we broke up, and shortly got back together as the breakup was due to stress from him. I'm still so ashamed of invading his privacy like that, but we are very happy and in a healthy place. I've never been overly jealous, so this was super out of character, but a tint part of me is glad I did, because now I know not to doubt him. He didn't want to hang out that day, so I took the train to his neighborhood. He brought his friends to the train station after their band rehearsal like he always did. He saw me walking around, and I told him that I just like take walks in his area. It worked and I got to hang out with him, because since I'm already there. I cringe just thinking about it, because he definitively knew. But to be fair I was 13. Wouldn't do it again nowadays. I got broken up with. 4 months later was out drinking nearby. Phone him up and basically tell him I'm on my way. He put up a small fight, but in the end, begrudgingly agreed. So I stopped at home, was not driving, put on my new floral dress and wedges. Really, I looked nice. I then have a friend drop me off there. Oh, and I also had a huge bottle of vodka in my purse. Despite being very inebriated already, I continued taking straight shots from it. I wake up alone in his bed and walk downstairs. The amount of hate in his eyes startled me. He began to explain how I had tried to piss in his closet, and when confronted, I cried and declared, "You don't know what it's like to be a pretty woman." I left very swiftly after being told that. I don't remember most of the night, and never got the full story as he had virtually blocked me in every ways imaginable. I'm sorry, Matt. Ran behind his moving car, howling, in the middle of traffic. Edit. We were in the middle of massive fight in the car and called off the engagement and ended up in yelling and lots of tears. Asked him to drop me off right then and there in the middle of the road and opened the door of the moving car. He braked and let me out, and I obviously slammed the door for the dramatic effect only to realize seconds later that my handbag with my phone and wallet were in the car. Hence, ran behind his moving car, howling, in the middle of traffic. I just realized I'm not as stable as I pretend to be. My ex had a sore on his leg, and I had some cream I wanted him to use that would heal it. But the cream was a weird color and he didn't want to put it on. I insisted that he should, because it would literally heal it overnight, but he continuously refused and got annoyed. I finally snapped and started literally screaming at him to put the king cream on, and broke down in tears running to my room like a 3-year-old. We broke up not long after for other unrelated issues, but yeah, not my proudest moment. Edit. This blew up. This was about 10 years ago, and we broke up because we both had issues back then and have gone our very separate ways and are both married to separate humans. I chucked a tantrum like a child because there was communication barriers and struggled to get him to do anything. He refused because I was irrational over most things due to the frustration of our toxic relationship. The cream was some magical stuff that someone gave me that had some crazy name. Looked and smelled like tar, but it worked like a charm. No, it wasn't off. Good times. Found out my husband was cheating, went to his girlfriend's house with 2 trash bags of his shredded clothes, smashed cologne bottles inside, and a copy of our marriage certificate, and dropped it at her doorstep with a note saying, "He is your problem now, enjoy," with a PS, "The return policy is expired, you are stuck with him." Messaged the girl who slept with my fiance at the time, broke up a decade ago, in our bed on Facebook and let her know that I knew what they were up to and that I found the video she sent him of her riding her hairbrush handle. He saved the video to my laptop. Like an idiot. She was her about it, by the way. I contemplated leaking the video to workers at the daycare she worked at, but didn't want to deal with legal repercussions and I ultimately decided neither of them were worth the hassle. I had met her a month prior, when we were out with his friends. She shook my hand and we ended up talking most of the evening, since the rest of the group were guys doing their own thing. She knew we were engaged. It wasn't a consensual open relationship and we broke up soon after that, for a plethora of reasons. Found out my ex of 3 years had been cheating on me and had stolen money from my savings and my mother's safe jewelry to make presents to this other girl for months. Went out with my friends the following night. We all got a bit drunk and for some reason had to poop at the same time. We thought it was a good idea to poop on his car. So we walked to his house at 3 AM and we all left a little poop on different parts of the car. I'm not proud, but I don't regret it either. Turned on the read receipts on his phone when he asked me to fix something else in his settings. Edit for clarity / so I can stop getting yelled at in my inbox. Dude would regularly not answer for 24+ hours. Dude lives with his phone in hand. Dude rode a motorcycle exclusively, and the only time I had been on it has ended in an accident. This led to a certain amount of anxiety, which I explained to him. We had talked about it multiple times. His main defense was, well, my ex used to freak out if I didn't answer in 15 minutes, so sometimes I just don't want to bother. Understandable, but I was expecting something more like a response sometime within the next 4 hours. Dude's his own boss, in an industry that has a significant amount of downtime. I was dating this guy for about 2 years. He was moving away and I was helping him pack. We'd agreed to break up. Well, I got into those moving boxes and managed to write an inspirational message on the inside of each one. Things like, "Are you tired of opening boxes? That's okay, you're doing great." It wasn't malicious or anything, but I tried way too hard to unexpectedly delight that guy. The cringe still eats me when I think about it. I dated a guy that was toxic as a person, not just as a partner. I knew he was already up to no good from the rumors. Small town, but I had no proof, and the guy was a superb con artist when confronted. I had lent him an older phone I had spare from an upgrade after he'd wrecked his own. A few months down the timeline things were getting worse. The gaslighting was at a whole new level amid I was trying to get out whilst preserving my sanity. He'd gotten a new phone and my burner one had long been returned. I was clearing its data before getting rid of it, signing out of old accounts and saving photos I wanted to keep. Opened up the email app to his account still logged in, and several conversations with admitted sex workers arranging meetings. I took the more creative opportunity. I forwarded the messages to myself and replied back to them, asking why he'd send me such disgusting exchanges. It was everything I needed to get out of it: the proof, the admitting of cheating, the direct conversations from him, and he couldn't flip it on me. I knew it was a crazy girlfriend thing to do, but 10 out of 10 I would do it again, to remove myself from that dude. Live and learn. Edit. Thank you everyone for the support, praise, questions, and gold. It was embarrassing at the time knowing I had let some creep get close enough to make me question my own worth. I'm much better now, and that dude is well and truly out of my life. Before now only my best mate knew this story. Thank God for that girl. She was planning a wedding at the time, and I was ringing her up about my crazy, and God love her, she picked up the phone every time. Thank you everyone. To my ex, if you read this, you're a bad person. My first boyfriend in high school, we were 15 or 16. He was about to break up with me because he was getting cozy with this hot new freshman girl who already had a reputation for giving great BJs, but I didn't know that at the time. All I knew is that he was acting differently towards me. In the past he had been almost clingy, but he was being really distant and acting like being around me was annoying. But on this day, I was still technically his girlfriend. So BF and a bunch of other people start leaving together at the end of the school day. The high school was across the street from a bunch of restaurants, and I heard from one of the other guys they were headed to Buffalo Wild Wings. They left without me. BF didn't say anything about it to me. So what do? Well, naturally I walk over there and park myself outside the restaurant and wait. I waited for probably 90 minutes and this was before smartphones, so I was bored AF. Eventually the group exits the restaurant and BF sees me sitting on the curb. He wasn't going to acknowledge me until one of the other guys said, "Aren't you going to say hi to your girlfriend?" So he gave me a quick one-arm hug and said okay bye. Again one of the other guys prompted him to be polite and offer me a ride back to the school. He goes, "Yeah sure, just hop in the back pickup truck." Other guy says, "You aren't going to let your girlfriend ride shotgun?" BF goes, "No." So yeah, that was really awkward and he called me 2 days later to break up with me. Well, it's not really a crazy girlfriend because it was only a crush. I worked at a supermarket on the registers, and this guy who worked at the store next door came in at the same time, same day every week. I ended up having a crush on him, despite never actually talking to him. I went to the store he worked at one day, his shift was just ending, and the next person was taking over for him. I asked his co-worker what his name was, and he told me. I ended up going on Facebook and typing in his first name, his workplace, and where we lived, and I found his profile. After looking through all his pictures and being a complete weirdo, I made a fake account to add him on. He's accepted. Long story short, that's how I found out he was gay.